this now! Take her away! Eno!
Princess Charlotte was already walking toward the graduation stage when Prince William suddenly stepped in front of her and quietly said, "She's not going on stage." And according to witnesses, the entire university hall fell silent the moment Charlotte realized he meant it. The ceremony had been planned for months. According to palace staff, Charlotte had fought harder for this day than almost anything else in her life. She wanted one thing the palace could never fully control: a normal achievement, a normal moment. No royal speeches, no charity appearances, no Windsor Hall politics, just her graduation. George knew how much it meant to her. Louis flew back early just to attend. Even Catherine reportedly cried while helping Charlotte prepare that morning, because for once, this day belonged to Charlotte instead of the crown. The university campus was overflowing with students, cameras, and reporters when the royal convoy arrived. Charlotte stepped out wearing a dark navy graduation robe beside Catherine, and according to witnesses, she looked genuinely happy. Then everything changed, because just as Charlotte approached the ceremony entrance, someone inside the crowd suddenly shouted, "Ask her what William hid about the lake." Charlotte froze instantly. Not confused, terrified. Royal guards immediately rushed toward the crowd. Students began filming, phones everywhere. Then another voice shouted, "She deserves to know the truth." According to Oliver Grant, the expression on William's face terrified him more than the crowd itself, because William didn't look angry. He looked exposed. Charlotte slowly turned toward him and quietly whispered, "You said nobody else knew." William immediately stepped closer. "Charlotte, listen to me." But before he could continue, a young woman pushed through the crowd holding up an old photograph. A childhood photograph. Charlotte stared at it and completely froze, because the image showed her standing beside a teenage boy nobody around her recognized, except William. According to palace insiders, the future king went completely pale the moment he saw the photograph. George grabbed it immediately. Then slowly turned it over, and according to witnesses, there was handwriting across the back. One sentence: "Tell Charlotte the truth before he does." The atmosphere shattered. Charlotte looked directly at William now, her eyes already filled with tears. "Who is he?" William immediately motioned toward security. "End this now." But Charlotte suddenly stepped backward. "No." The word echoed across the entire entrance hall, because nobody had ever seen her speak to William like that publicly before. "You promised me there were no more lies." William lowered his voice sharply. "This is not the place." Charlotte's expression immediately broke. Then when was the right place? George suddenly stepped between them, and according to multiple students, the prince looked furious. "What did you do?" William snapped immediately. "George, stay out of this." But George didn't move. Double quotes, "No. Every time she gets close to the truth, you destroy something important to her." The sentence hit Charlotte visibly harder than the crowd itself, because suddenly she realized George already knew there was a secret, and nobody had told her. Charlotte slowly looked toward him. "How long have you known?" George froze, then quietly answered, "A few months." Charlotte immediately started crying harder. Not dramatic crying, the kind that happens when someone realizes everyone they trusted already knew the truth except them. "You knew too." George stepped closer desperately. "I was trying to protect you." But Charlotte shook her head immediately. "No. You were protecting him." According to Oliver Grant, even William looked devastated hearing that sentence. But then George suddenly turned toward William and shouted something that reportedly stunned the entire university hall. "She's your daughter before she's the crown." William said nothing, not one word. And according to witnesses, that silence hurt Charlotte more than anything else that happened that day. Because in that moment, she realized he couldn't deny it. The future king had spent years protecting something so important. He was willing to destroy his own daughter's happiest day to keep it buried. Charlotte slowly removed her graduation sash. With trembling hands, the same sash Catherine had proudly fixed for her that morning. Then quietly handed it to Oliver Grant. "I waited my whole life for today." Pause. "And he still chose the palace over me." According to witnesses, William looked genuinely shattered for the first time all afternoon. But before anyone could move, George suddenly turned toward the crowd of students and reporters, then looked directly at the cameras and said, "You all want the truth?" William immediately stepped forward. "George, don't." But George ignored him completely. Instead, he raised the photograph high enough for the cameras to see. And according to one university staff member, the entire hall became completely silent. George's voice reportedly shook with anger now. "My sister spent her whole life being protected from her own past." William's expression collapsed instantly. "Stop this right now." But George kept going. "You taught us loyalty our entire lives." Pause. But loyalty to what? The family or the lie? Charlotte stood frozen beside him, crying silently. Even Catherine reportedly looked close to breaking down. And then George said the sentence nobody inside Windsor Hall was prepared to hear publicly. "Ask my father why photos of Charlotte exist in places he swore she had never been." The reporters exploded immediately. Questions everywhere. Security rushing forward. Cameras flashing non-stop. And according to Oliver Grant, William didn't even try denying it anymore. Because for the first time in years, the future king looked less like the most powerful man in Britain, and more like a father realizing he had just lost both of his children in front of the entire world. Charlotte quietly looked at William one final time, then whispered, "You didn't ruin my graduation today." Pause. "You ruined every memory I trusted before it." And according to palace insiders, that was the exact moment Windsor Hall stopped feeling like a royal family and started feeling like a collapsing empire. If you enjoyed this emotional royal drama story, leave your theories below. Do you think George did the right thing by exposing William publicly? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden palace secrets, emotional betrayals, and Windsor Hall royal drama.